Hello and welcome to Kyou no Anime. I am Matt, this is Andrew, and this is a podcast where we're going to talk about anime we are currently watching. We're going to be starting from the beginning of any anime we watch on this show, so feel free to watch along with us or go on ahead and enjoy. Just like all your friends you've always tried to get into anime, or that friend who's always behind on what you're watching that you really want to talk about it with, we promise to catch up eventually. Without further ado, we're going to be starting today's episode off with Season 1, Episode 8 and 9 of Demon Slayer, or Kimetsu no Yaiba for all y'all Japanese viewers out there. Andrew, I feel like we've come so far in this series, even though we haven't even made it halfway yet.
I know, we're only on Episode 8, and it feels like it's been forever. And I feel like it's because partly we record mostly weekly on these, and we sit there, we watch, and then we talk.
Yeah, I don't know. I think taking notes have really changed my perspective on how these seasons are passing.
Yeah, you have to sit there and actually watch the episode. Oh man.
Well, it's I do that with most of my anime. I it has my full attention for the most part, you know.
I do too, but ADHD brain.
I was about to
trail
say,
off whenever I want.
I was about to say ADHD doesn't exactly help with that, but it just my perception of the whole thing is much different taking notes and really being as observant as possible with it.
I mean, I feel like the first time through that I was watching this show, I never really grasped the concept of how much time has passed, but it's been years in this universe, in this show.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, no, that's substantial. It's a substantial amount of time passed in the show, which shows a lot of progression already at Episode 8.
Yeah. My God. Well, I guess that should roll right into our recap then. So that we don't start talking about the episode too soon.
Yeah, right. We don't want to jump around too much. We have to break this episode down.
I have a lot to talk about this episode, so without further ado, Muzan Kibutsuji creates an opportunity to slip away with the panic of a newly created demon. An unexpected ally intervenes to assist Tanjiro. Well, episode 8, The Smell of Enchanting Blood.
That is such a strong title for this. Sometimes we've just had the names of characters as titles, but that's provocative enough, I think, to really grab someone's attention.
I think so. I mean, do they show that in the because I never see that in the actual episode until after intro music.
What, the title?
Yeah.
I mean, when you click on it, you see it if you're reading or if you're just going in blind, but they usually do a little cutaway about it right in the beginning.
It's just interesting to me. I never see it until after the credits. Basically.
They hit that creepy music, and they show you the title of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's I see that from my memory. I could be entirely wrong on this. From my memory, it's after the intro song plays.
Yeah, it is. They go and then they have the title. If this was an old 2000s anime, they would have the main protagonist talking and saying the title.
It sounds like you're saying it happens right before the intro music.
No, it happens after the intro song.
That's what I thought.
I believe right before it rolls in to the new content, which is cool. And then I was saying, if it was a 2000s anime, they would have had Tanjiro's voice actor saying the title.
Yeah, probably
with a lot of vigor.
Yeah, but Tanjiro does that. Tanjiro's voice actor does do that a lot.
He does.
He does do a lot of narration for the show.
I know he does a lot of outro stuff too, which is pretty funny.
For sure.
He'll say the name, I believe, of the next episode.
Oh, I forgot to watch the little Demon Slayer snippet.
I don't remember if I did.
Oh, that's disappointing. I always love those. I always forget to check.
But okay, yeah. So we pick up right where we left off in the last episode. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, Tanjiro watching that demon transformation firsthand gave me chills.
Oh my God, that was that was terrifying for one.
It was yeah,
because of
scary.
How fast it was.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
It was literally just a scratch, And I don't think the human eye could see it.
Yeah, but that was like, that dude's neck was fully sliced open.
Yup.
Like, that was a lot more than a scratch.
That was a gash.
Yeah. Like, a tiger would have done that, you know what I mean? Like, those were deep cuts.
Like, and the instantaneousness almost of him fully converting to a demon and then biting his partner he was walking with.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And Tanjiro's over here freaking out,
Well, he does, as soon as the bite happens, he does kind of leap into action. He wraps his scarf around his hand and shoves it in the dude's mouth.
And he's just restraining him, holding him down, because he's the only one strong enough, probably in the vicinity, to do that.
And what I realized is that, like, right in that moment, and the police are about to intervene, Tanjiro would have gotten arrested.
Yeah, he had no clear way to say, I'm restraining this man for everyone's safety.
No. That's not what I mean. Because, sure, if they would have gotten Tanjiro off the guy somehow by, I guess, beating him with the stick. If that would have worked, I'm sure Tanjiro would have sat there for like a half an hour getting beat up. But had they succeeded in getting Tanjiro off and like restraining this guy and everything like that, Tanjiro has a sword. It's illegal to carry a sword right now.
That's true, right? Especially in a populated city like that.
Well, fully illegal during this period in Japan to carry a sword, period.
And also the fact that he can't say, oh, I work for this secret government organization, so it's okay.
Well, it's not recognized by the government.
It's not, exactly.
So he can't even say it's a government organization because it's not.
Well,
he's like, oh, I work for this group of vigilantes. Like, that's not going to work.
We're protecting you. It's for your own good. No.
Yeah, like, no. Yeah, not going to happen. He's going to get arrested. He's carrying a sword. So it's one of those things where it's like, that's what I realized in that moment of being like, oh. And then we get that look on Muzan's face when he's walking away and Tanjiro's yelling at him.
Yeah, but also, like, Muzan's playing it off. He's playing it like, I don't know who that is, sweetie, to his wife and child. And Tanjiro is just furious. He's like, you will never escape me. Ever. He's like, we're gonna go. And he just leaves. He slips out of there.
We get his, partner or whatever she is calling him a different name.
Yeah.
So we know as a fact he's masquerading. And he sends them home, which to me was like, oh, he doesn't want Tanjiro to be able to pick up on that scent and get back to his house and expose him. So I think like it's a little bit of Muzan's getting on the ropes a bit.
Yeah, or a power play where he's trying to back him into a further corner.
Yeah, but then we get that flashback. Muzan. I'm skipping ahead.
Don't skip ahead.
I'm skipping ahead, yeah.
But yeah, so after Muzan slips out of there, Tanjiro's left to have to try to explain to the cops.
Yeah, but
he's not letting this dude get up.
You gotta give Tanjiro props for his determination to not let anyone get hurt. Like I said, like he definitely would have sat there and got beat up for a half an hour just to not let go of the guy.
If he didn't have to let go of the guy to like go after Muzan, he would have chased Muzan down easily.
For sure.
That's why Muzan definitely did that. I don't know if he had any like...
Well, I think it was about Muzan not blowing his cover in that moment.
Oh, yeah, no. He has to, for some reason, I don't know if it's for power's sake or like he's an influential person in this world other than the first demon.
I think it's more of the exposure factor, like the idea that like nobody knows much about Muzan in general, so it's like the fact that Tanjiro found him.
Yeah, also nobody knows anything about demons apparently.
Yeah, so
in this world it's weird.
So the idea that like you could have the potential to blow his cover, I think is where that comes from.
But yeah, no, that was such like an intense moment. And then, what was Tanjiro left to do in this situation besides sit here, hold this guy down? How is he getting him out of here? How is he getting out of this situation?
Yeah, and then we get that thick blood art.
Oh my god, this whole sequence was so pretty. I had to like rewind and watch it a couple
I
times.
was like for this woman, her blood art is literally art.
Yeah,
like there's no other explanation for that. Like she literally makes art come flying through the air. Like I don't know any other way to.
So like what I guess I was a little confused about this. I think it was either hers specifically or a mix of the young guy that she was with. Were they hiding in plain sight? Were they in like a weird pocket dimension where no one could see them?
I think they were definitely. It was a plain sight kind of thing. Because it's like if
everyone vanishes.
If Muzan could walk around, why can't they?
I mean, they were walking around, I believe, purely in coincidence to this.
Well, that's
occurrence.
what I'm saying, though. It's like, they can walk around equally as much as long as it's at night. So I think it was just like happenstance that they ran into each other. So I think it was like a hiding in plain sight thing, where it's like they just happen to be walking around as well. Where it's like maybe they were concealing their presence a little bit to not be found by Muzan, but they probably didn't even know he was there.
And we kind of get this moment where, one, it's peaceful because this is so beautiful. But then two, this demon is saying that she also shows up, pretty much was kind of taken aback by Tanjiro's kindness towards a demon.
Yeah.
As a demon slayer. And then said, I'm different than Muzan. I want to kill him.
Well, before that, she was like, I'm Doctor. Like, and I was immediately like, Doc Demon?
Demon Doc.
What?
That was actually kind of a cool little twist there.
Like, I got so excited about that because I was like, oh, we got Demon Doc. I don't care what her name is. I'm going to call her Demon Doc. That's fantastic. Or Doc Demon.
They take the woman that got attacked by the newly converted demon guy and was like, we'll treat her, but I believe they also were treating the demon, right? Or did they let the demon get taken?
No, they took him. They took him too.
They took both of them. So
yeah,
she's going to help both of them.
They said later on that they locked him in the basement.
Oh, yes. Okay. I watched this like 4 days ago.
Oh my God.
3 days ago, something like that.
I just realized something about the next episode. We'll get into it.
Okay.
But please try to remind me.
I don't know where you're at, so maybe
about the guy in the basement. We'll get to it. Trust me.
Okay. Cool. But then we kind of get a jump cut, and we go to Muzan after that. We're doing a cutaway. Tanjiro is getting out of the situation that he was just in. Muzan's getting into a new situation.
Right. Muzan. Well, we already said. What happens with Muzan is that he tells his family to go away in the carriage, says goodbye to them,
and after that he stumbles into a bunch of drunks
in
an alley.
A sick moment because Muzan at first is like, I apologize, I have somewhere to be, like I'm very busy right now.
Yeah, he's
I can't deal with you.
It's okay, sorry, keep it moving.
Well, yeah, in the Japanese version he apologizes and says like he's in a hurry so he can't talk to them right now, and then the guy stops him. Did something different happen in English?
No, it was pretty much the same. He was just kind of like...
He was polite at first.
Yeah, he was being very cordial.
And then killed him.
And then the drunks started the altercation a little more. And then he absolutely bodied these two guys.
Like, he literally one-shotted them. Like, first, the one drunk, he just, like, picked his arm up to the side. And, like, his fist touched him, and he flew into the wall.
Oh, that was so cool.
Oh, yeah. And then the woman runs up to him and is like, oh, my God, he's dead.
And then he just stabs her in the head.
Well, before that, the other guy, like the bigger guy, was like, what did you do to my little brother? And goes to attack him. And then Muzan just kicks him in the chin, which makes him literally go above the buildings.
Yeah. So now we're getting a little bit more of a power showing from Muzan, which is so cool.
Exposition was so cool to me.
Right when he's like killing the woman, right?
That made me kind of like him as a villain before he kills her, where he's like, does my skin look too pale? Do I look like sick? Do I look sickly to you? Do I look like I'm not long for this world?
And then he just looked like a little his like fragility was showing just like, a little bit there. He was fuck these people, man. They're making fun of me.
Well, that's what
me?
I loved that. And it's like there's his flaw, it's like that's something that's going to be able to be exposed.
Maybe he's like super vain. And he's like, I want to look so good.
He's got to be like the biggest narcissist ever because he's lonely as shit. And like he literally says he's the closest being to being perfect.
Damn. If that's not a little conceited. But then we also get...
It's definitely conceited, but it was so cool to me.
We get that moment where he starts to pump blood into this poor woman in the alley.
And I was like, his power is hypodermic needle fingers.
So he's transferring blood, but at an increasingly fast rate. She just can't handle it. And he's like, the human body can't withstand this much. And she just turns into a pile of mush.
Well, in Japanese,
dissolve.
He specifically says that they can't handle a fast transformation. So it's like...
So that little, scrape was, just enough to convert him, but not enough to make him very strong.
Not enough to make him pop. Or dissolve, I guess. Because she just, evaporated. But I was like, it's... maybe it's an art style choice, but it's really ironic to me that his nails turn purple when he turns them into the
demon
nail, I guess demon nail, whatever. But that happens when your nail actually dies. Have you ever slammed a finger in a car door or something like that?
Yeah.
And when your fingernail's about to fall off, it turns purple. So I don't know if that's an art style choice or if they did that because of that. It's just a cool thing that yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that was super cool. I mean, I guess for lack of a better word, was probably be dead.
And then we get the flashback that I'm so excited about.
And we also get that moment where he kind of just it almost feels like he snaps his fingers and two demons just appear behind him.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're just like, whoa, that was quick. Where'd you come from?
Which we did have to rewatch, but...
Now, I mean, we rewatched this because there's a key thing we'll get into later. But he essentially puts a hit out on Tanjiro.
Yeah.
He got face to face with him and was like, not about this.
No.
Nope.
And then we get that stick because he's the Hanafuda earrings and
yeah, and we don't know why he's the Hanafuda earrings.
Yeah, but then we have a flashback.
Yes, we do.
And
a small one though.
I immediately was like, Tanjiro's dad. He's got a red sword.
Look at them earrings. They even pass down in the genes.
I think Tanjiro's dad was the closest ever to killing Muzan, and maybe it's the whole reason Muzan's in hiding. Maybe it's the whole reason Muzan attacked the family and turned Nezuko into a demon in the first of all. Maybe this is all about revenge for him.
Yeah, I mean, he seems petty enough to do it with the last showing.
But want to know what really got me thinking? The red sword. Because I don't know if you saw it in the flashback, but that sword had a red tinge to it. And I was like, oh my god, this is why the blacksmith was so disappointed when he didn't see a red sword.
It is black.
And I'm like, that makes so much more sense now. I understand why he was so upset because it's it should run in the family. So I should be able to see this brilliant red sword.
This would be sick if this was Tanjiro's dad. We hope it is.
I'm that is
not sure yet though.
My fan theory is so on this. I don't know it for sure, but I know it,
Yeah. So after that tense moment there of a hit being placed on our good boy Tanjiro, he is back at the udon cart.
Possibly. So I had a really difficult time coming up with my favorite scene for this episode. This was my second pick for my favorite scene.
Of the udon guy yelling at him for dropping his udon?
Well, it's
because that was pretty funny.
I love that the characters that they make in this are so into what they do. You know what I mean? It's they have so much care for what they do. The guy didn't give a wink that to Tanjiro breaking the bowl. He was just you didn't eat my noodle.
He's like, how dare you? He's like, no, I'm gonna get me more right now.
Yeah, and then he's like, But then the udon guy's like, and you're gonna eat my noodles too. Like everybody's here is gonna eat noodles now because that's all I care about.
And then Tanjiro starts to eat them, and I literally wrote this. He was like, he starts eating them like a demon. He's just like,
he eats them like Goku or Naruto.
Exactly, like just scarfing it. It's so funny, guys. Oh, it's so perfect too.
And finally, he apologizes for leaving Nezuko alone.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't Nezuko like half asleep at that point?
Yeah,
she was just kind of like fading out.
She was. I'm pretty sure she was fully asleep, sitting down, and then Tanjiro just got up and ran the fuck away.
Oh God, yeah, he bolted. You know.
Oh man, you know what? Come to think about it,
that could have been way worse for her.
Well, that's what I was about to say. If Nezuko had been there, she would have been able to restrain the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tanjiro probably would have gotten killed fighting Muzan.
That would be too convenient. So that's definitely why it didn't happen.
Ooh, my pick for MVP might have just changed.
And then, suddenly, a boy in a kimono pops up. He's just like, hey. He's kind of mad.
And calls Nezuko an eyesore, and Tanjiro's like, what? No.
Oh
She's beautiful.
Oh my God, yeah, he was like, oh God. He's like, no, my sister was the most beautiful girl in my village.
Yeah.
You must look at her in better lighting, you son of a bitch.
And then they finally get to that dead end, and he's like, maybe it's the muzzle. I need to take this thing off so that you could look at her beauty without it.
Yeah, it's like this. It's ruining her face, man. That was one of those comedic moments in this. That was just so pure gold.
I'm like, what a good and bad older brother. Like, no, my sister's hot.
It's like, how dare you not want to marry her?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was
like great, but also a little weird, A
little bit, but it was like the proud big brother. But also, we get a very kind of like cool first moment where he's bringing Tanjiro to the demon doctor now.
Yeah.
And then what was funny, it was that Tanjiro was like, you didn't have to track me. I could track you with my super sniffer.
Oh yeah, and he was like, nope, you can't. We got shielded. I forget exactly how he put it.
It was a demon blood art that hides things. It's essentially like if they were to use talisman.
Like it's a concealment thing.
Yeah. They were like concealment talismans using blood art, which was actually really cool. So I thought that was pretty dope.
I love how I'll call him the demon kid. Like his name's Yushiro. But Yushiro, I love that he treats Demon Doc like Tanjiro treats Nezuko.
Oh yeah, he's like super simp.
Like that dynamic is fantastic. Because just like everything that Tanjiro does, he gets mad at.
Yeah, he's like, don't look at the mistress with those eyes, you plebe.
Like, pretty much.
You're like, he's just asking questions. How dare you ask her a question directly?
Yeah, like it's all these very little things, and she's like, stop hurting him.
He's like, milady, I must defend your honor.
And then he flips him, and he's like, I didn't hit him, just like you said. I only flipped him.
He's like, I didn't hit him, though. Like,
and then she's like, you may not do that as well. He's like, yes, ma'am.
I wrote, when we finally find the, like, concealment where he, like, pops his head through, and he's like, follow me. I was like, he just Harry Pottered.
Oh, my God, yeah.
He was just like, this dead end is not a dead end. So
wow,
that was pretty funny, and I was like, that's really cool. The show's showing like different kinds of blood demon arts already on episode 8, giving us a bigger power spectrum.
I feel like we should at this point. We've been seeing a lot of those sword techniques up until this point, but we really haven't seen very much in terms of blood art.
I mean, we haven't gotten any that are super wowing. Like, we've gotten the demon powers, like that guy who like swims in the puddle and just like takes his victims into like a weird puddle zone.
Well, and split himself into 3, and like I feel like that's definitely a blood art.
Yeah, it has to be, or something.
It's a special demon power, okay? It's a power. They got him. We've seen them, but we haven't seen very many. Like we've seen 2. Like, we saw the guy with all the arms, like, stretch his arms out like crazy.
Yeah.
I assume that was his demon power, his gluttony power, right?
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. Like, there's so many things. I would have to do a lot more research about the demons per se.
Well, I was thinking back to what episode was it? Episode 3 or 4, when the demon he fights in the selection.
Oh yeah, that weird thing.
Yeah, like with all the arms that he could like stretch out like crazy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He had like fucking 60 arms that he could reach out towards Tanjiro.
Not even too sure what his power was besides being really fat.
Fair. Well, he had a really strong neck. Which was really just
neck.
Some of those arms wrapped around it, like.
Yeah, he just put layers upon layers over it. That was it. That was his power.
The more sweaters you wear, right?
God. So
yeah, you know what kind of upset me this episode?
What?
It's not my miss. But I was like, okay, Tanjiro, with the fucking lie detector nose. Like, what hormones does lying give off that you can smell it?
Guilt.
That's not a hormone.
Stinky guilt.
like
shit in your pants a little bit.
Like, I feel
like
it's going a little too far with the super smeller.
I mean, it's pretty funny though.
Like, oh, she smells like someone who's not lying. I can trust her. And
yeah.
I was like, really, my guy?
We also find out now, essentially, that they're now meeting face to face inside this. Essentially, it's a hospital. That she's treating the woman from the street, and they lock the man in the basement.
I guess.
Also to be treated.
I viewed it as like a house, but
yeah.
I guess it is kind of set up like a doctor's office.
Yeah, I mean, makeshift maybe, but like hidden away, and now they're treating the victims. Of the incident.
She is Doc Demon, so it does make sense.
Doc Demon's pretty sick, though. What was this? I'm sorry, I have like a weird little note here, and I'm trying to remember what I was saying.
Well, for one, I know that they tweaked their bodies, which was super interesting.
Oh, yeah, Yushiro and Yamato?
Tamayo.
Tamayo?
Tamayo.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, she tweaked their bloods to only need a small bit of human blood to function, apparently.
Yeah, I was really curious about that. It's like, how? How does one make that change and stuff like that? And then she talked about removing Muzan's curse, and I was like, well, what is that?
Yeah, she removed the curse from herself and Yushiro.
Well, Yushiro didn't have one.
Actually, yeah.
'Cause she made Yushiro a demon.
So this is, I believe, why we also find out that she's a traitor.
Yeah, but that's also where the whole lie detector nose came from.
And she has the ability to also create demons. But I believe it took her 200 years to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they said.
Which is insane. Because that means, she's older than 200 years old.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And was only able to turn Yoshiro into a demon. On top of that.
Yeah. And she was saying that she only needs a small amount of human blood, like I was saying before, to kind of keep the hunger at bay. And she only takes it from, like, people who are, I believe, in other forms of treatment already.
Yeah.
But with consent.
She said, I don't know if it was different in the English version, but she said, like, terminally ill patients. The people that are definitely going to die.
And she also offers to, I believe, turn them into demons, knowing the fact that they would have to live the life she does of, like, consuming human blood. And she can help them,
well, she always asks them, she said.
Yeah.
But it is, like, terminally ill patients that wouldn't be able to live otherwise.
Which is really cool.
I think so. I think that's well, it sounds kind of messed up.
I mean,
like, I think the best form of human experimentation is people who are about to die anyway, but
it definitely is, and I don't know if her removing the curses helps them remain
it's like
the same person they used to be.
I don't think it's her removing curses, because it's her turning people into demons, which has never succeeded other than once. So it's like, I don't know.
I think she learned to do it after 200 years, but I think she can
Well, that makes me curious about that. Is like how maybe she has made more people into demons in that case.
Yeah, but it took her a very long time to even figure that out.
Right, but now I'm curious because I thought she said in the episode that she had only succeeded with him, but I could be wrong with that.
We could do some research about it if we wanted to, and maybe
get us in the comments,
or don't. But get us in the comments because we want to hear from you.
Comments. Correct me.
Or
Andrew.
Yeah,
correct Andrew.
What? No,
what?
Don't correct me.
Yeah, do it.
Only correct Matt, not me. No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Definitely Andrew.
Oh God. Yeah, so we just went over the like 200 years took forever. This was a funny lull moment for me, but Tanjiro after that asked how old Tamayo was, and then Yushiro just fucking beats his ass. He's like, you never ask a lady her age. And you're just like,
well, that's when I wrote the note that I love the immediate dynamic between God, I forget his name every 2 seconds. Yushiro and Miss Tamayo. Was just like, it was just immediately so clear, and like, this is what the dynamic is. Like, this is a Tanjiro and Nezuko dynamic. Like, it's the same exact thing. Like, you do anything wrong, and they're going to defend you to the end.
And then, as we were going, okay, well, she knows how to remove Muzan's curse in general. But she's like, I don't know how to change a demon to a human. So we come up on another dead end with the whole Nezuko storyline at this moment.
Yeah, well, then we get a quick cut to what I thought was going to be like direct competition for Tanjiro, because at first, when they first cut over into the scene, it looked like there was this new demon who was sniffing the ground, and I was like, uh-oh, a super smeller versus super smeller situation. That's gonna be bad news for Tanjiro.
Imagine that fight though.
I was honestly so excited for it, and
that would actually be like a very cool fight.
And that because of that, the whole eyes on his hands thing just didn't surprise me. I was just like, oh, it's just hands. It's just eye hands. No big deal.
Yeah, and they seem to have found them pretty quickly. So that kind of
Well, that's when they like showcased his ability, and like looking at the ground, he was able to see their footsteps in the direction they were going.
The arrows.
Yes, the arrows. The eye arrows. And then we cut back, and she was like, to Miss Tamayo, talking to Tanjiro, being like, "Oh, can I ask you 2 favors?"
Oh yeah, those favors are pretty. Well, I remember one of them clearly, and the other one I was a little confused of.
Well, the first favor was being able to study Nezuko's blood.
Yes.
The second favor was to collect other demons' blood for them to study that are, quote, closely related to Muzan. And I was immediately like, well, aren't like 99.9% of demons related to Muzan because they have his blood? And I was like, okay, well, maybe the more blood, because we found out with the girl, like, he can't give too much blood. So maybe it's like the more blood they have of his, the more closely, quote, relation.
The stronger they are, too, I think.
Well, it's like the pure sample of Muzan's blood you're getting at that point. And then I was like, when were centrifuges invented? Because, like, what if Muzan's blood is, like, thicker? You know what I mean?
I mean, we don't really know.
No, I looked it up. I stopped watching this episode.
And you looked up how thick his blood was?
No, not how thick his blood is.
You might get different searches. How thick Muzan be?
I feel like he thick, though. Like, maybe it's lighter, maybe it's thicker. Throw it in a centrifuge. And then I was like, okay, well, if they're at the beginning of the Meiji period, then it's probably like 1870, which is so close to when centrifuges were invented. The first, like, working centrifuge was for, like, dairy.
Okay.
And it was put out in 1875. It's like literally 5 years later, there were centrifuges.
I swear this podcast needs the more you know sound. Like, there's things that I'm learning, and hopefully everyone else is also.
I'm not paying for SFX right now. Get on Patreon, patreon.com/KyonoAnime. If you want sound effects to come in, I'll pay for that subscription with the Patreon money.
Oh dear. But yeah, so it sounds like the purpose of this is so that we can find a way to undo demonification.
Yeah, so just wait 10 years, throw the blood in a centrifuge, bam, you got a pure sample of Muzan's blood without actually having to fight him. It's only 10 years, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, for a demon?
She waited 200.
Yeah, I was like, for them, that's nothing. Absolutely nothing. The concept of time is probably gone to
So
them
no
at
big
this
deal.
point.
I mean, maybe she doesn't know about centrifuges yet, but...
And then we kind of just, it jumps, and then the house starts getting attacked.
Yes, of course we get a demon entrance mid-conversation because of the power of balls.
Bouncy balls.
This week's episode is not brought to you by Balls Energy Drink. No more settling for ordinary. Break free from the mundane. Grab some balls and power up your passion. Balls. Because life's too short for average energy.
Okay.
I can't help myself.
After that perfect ad read, Balls sponsor us.
Yeah, please. Anyone.
We can go, I guess, through our misses and our MVPs.
Okay. I'll do my miss first then.
Okay, go right ahead.
My miss is the last couple of seconds of this episode, where everyone in that hut that just like the balls bounced all around, nobody got hit or anything. Everyone looked way too fearful except for like Nezuko, because they saw a demon. Like it's 4v1 right now.
I mean, it's a sudden scare.
It's a sudden thing, but it's like they shouldn't be afraid. And Tanjiro just got a glimpse of possibility for saving Nezuko without trying to get Muzan to do it for him. So it's like this is the one like thing where it's like you just got presented hope, and it's like your hope didn't just get dashed. There's a research sample in front of you now. Like immediately. You know what I mean? It's like you find out the information, you get the things that could help your sister, and then bam, like if I was him, I'd be smiling in that moment.
I mean, he's been having a rough go of things for a little bit, so maybe he's just kind of on edge in all these situations.
Look, it's fair, but that missed for me.
Okay.
Because
no, that's fair.
Like it made sense for maybe Yushiro to I keep forgetting his name. Like that one character for some reason slips my mind immediately. I hope he's not big throughout the rest of the series. Oh god, what was I saying? But like maybe him would make sense to be like, oh, this is a scary moment because Muzan just found us. You know what I mean? Like we've been hiding out this whole time. I mean, so it makes sense for him to be a little scared.
They were hiding in like demon blood art.
But I feel like at this point in time, Tanjiro should not be as fearful.
Okay.
Because it's like we already got that character growth of him standing up to people and him going after demons, like of his own accord, instead of being afraid of them.
Okay.
So it's like it's one of those things for me where it's like to show the emotion of fear on Tanjiro's face in that moment didn't feel appropriate.
Sure. Yeah.
What was your miss?
Okay. So my miss, it's very just like cut and dry because this either hits for me or misses for me every single time a character like this exists. Yushiro being like the ultimate simp was just starting to annoy me at certain points because it was like, dude, they are having a conversation. Shut up. This does not involve you. Why are you judo flipping Tanjiro? Why are you punching him?
See,
Why are you attacking him? He's literally being peaceful. He's just saying things, and you're like, the ultimate betrayal, man.
So that was my actual second pick for my favorite scene. I loved that.
like it was like, oh my god. And it may have been the like voice in the dub or something.
Maybe. For me,
it was just kind of more annoying.
For me, it was the fact that it was over the top, and I really enjoyed it.
But yeah, no, like it wasn't anything crazy. It was just like, dude, come on, dude. It's not that big a deal. Just let the plot move forward. But that's me. It either hits or it misses. It does it every single time for me. The character just has to be well received in the moment, and he was not well received by me.
Well, I mean, since I did literally just mention my two favorite scenes already, my favorite scene was more than likely the udon shop guy, with that cart, and just how passionate like they make everyone in this show about what they do. Like I said, like the udon shop owner was only upset because Tanjiro didn't eat the noodles. Not a worry in the world about the bowl that was shattered. And then the scene where they were talking to Miss Tomoyo, where Yushiro keeps getting mad at Tanjiro. And he keeps just like beating him up for no reason at all. It's like he's ever so slightly rude, and he just goes at him. And I'm like, that's literally what just happened beforehand with him yelling at him because he called Nezuko ugly.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if we were picking favorite scenes, my favorite scene was that blood demon art in the street that Miss Tomoyo used, and it just was, like, gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
like
that was
so cool. Like, I watched it twice just to really take it in. So
I mean, it was beautiful artwork.
Not my MVP, but Matt, what's your MVP?
My MVP, I had a tough one this episode.
Okay.
So, originally, which I kind of think this might be your MVP, originally I went with Miss Tomoyo's blood art. It was a really cool moment. Kept a bunch of people from getting killed, from the guy that just got transformed, and kept Tanjiro from getting arrested because he had that sword.
That's fair. That is very useful.
I was also like, somebody's got to get Tanjiro a Mezer, which are technically from Germany, but there was also a sword ban there I forget the time period. It was late 1800s, I believe. And you weren't allowed to carry a sword anymore into like cities and stuff like that. So they invented the Mezer, which direct translation of Mezer, Andrew, is knife. The blades are about 2 feet. Just so you get an idea, it's basically a miniature longsword.
Okay.
But they used to carry them into places and be like, oh no, like this isn't a sword, it's a Mezer, like it's just a knife. so somebody's got to get that for Tanjiro. But I might have to backtrack on that and say it's got to be the udon, because without that udon cart, like I said, Tanjiro would have gone and fought Muzan and probably died right then and there. Yeah, Muzan's cover would have gotten blown, but no one else would have had the ability to find him. And if Nezuko had came along with him instead of being left at that udon shop, like that was the deciding factor between life and death, like for real, for Tanjiro. And then like he would have never met these people who have a possibility of curing Nezuko without Muzan, that are willing to work with him.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, God, I'm so torn, but I gotta go with udon, because first of all, yeah. I love udon.
Udon's delicious.
And it was that's my MVP.
Okay. No, that's fair.
What was your MVP for this episode?
You're gonna hate me. Because it's still Muzan.
No.
because Muzan, again,
It's not helpful.
He's not helpful, but he's great for driving the story forward. And honestly, we got to see a pretty good showing for him in this whole episode, making him out to be a very formidable bad guy.
He had really cool moments.
Yeah, he came in there. He destroyed a bunch of drunks. He made a girl turn to goo. He is lording over these two hitmen demons to send after Tanjiro. He converted a guy to a demon in front of Tanjiro and slipped away being the master of disguise. He's did a lot in this episode to just be such a uniquely bad guy. And I love that. And that made me really go like, okay, this is getting me a little more jazzed up for the rest of the show because he's being so evil and we just don't know to what extent yet.
The fact that I agree with you, for one, infuriates me. 2, I might have to look up the historical facts on udon. All right? Udon is an art. Udon is a passion. And udon is its own special flavor. Get some today. Udon. Great noodles.
Oh, jeez.
How many roles can I have? Randomly sponsoring nothing.
You gotta find like an udon supplier that we're just gonna plug randomly.
Hanamaru Mart.
There you go.
Your best stop for one. They actually do have a ramen shop in the back in Hanamaru Mart. I genuinely do recommend.
Okay.
Because it's a great little Japanese mart, like hidden away, and it has a ramen shop in the back that's actually really good, and everyone in there is super nice and are legitimately from Japan.
Well, that's awesome.
Like the amount of Japanese restaurants I've been to around here that are like no one speaks a lick of Japanese.
The best kind.
Yeah, I love.
I'm kidding. No,
I love.
it's absolutely terrible.
I love Chinese Japanese food.
Yeah, I love the fusion.
That broke me.
Rolling on.
I love the fusion. Anyway, we're almost at the 50-minute mark, Andrew.
Oh my god.
We had so much to talk about this episode, and I really don't have a lot to talk about for next episode, do you?
I mean, I have a good amount of notes, but it's mostly the breakdown. It's mostly just like point for point on like the episode, the occurrences, the fight, the powers,
well, I'll tell
things
you,
like that.
I'll tell you what, Andrew. You give me an idea right now. All right? You got about another 15 seconds before we hit that mark. Do we want to continue this episode and just have a long episode this time? Or are we splitting this one up too? Because we've been on a roll with getting these episodes split because of how much we can manage to talk about one episode.
So I would love to have a long episode, but it also, I take into account the amount of time someone has to listen to us talk about an episode, let alone 2.
100%.
So I would say we split this one and, we do, number 9, like, unless we turbo through it.
I think that's entirely fair. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We're happy to have you along with us here. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com. I can't speak. Thank you so much for listening. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/KyonoAnime. Next episode, filler episode, where we'll talk about random stuff. The episode after that, or maybe we'll double up for you, so that you don't have to wait the extra week to get the next episode in. Next week, we'll be going over episode 9 of Demon Slayer or Kimetsu no Yaiba. Be looking forward to having you along for that as well. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, enjoy watching.